The time being 6 o'clock, I'd like to call the Board of Health meeting to order. All members are present with the exception of Susan Emery. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. All right, the first item on our agenda are announcements from the Health Department. I will turn things over to our health agent.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
That's pretty much it for announcement. Oh, one announcement, I guess. So, April 5th, the compost site will be opening up again for the season. Normally, the site is open every Saturday from 9 to 2 for people to drop off yard waste, electronic waste for a small fee, mattresses for a small fee, or scrap metal. I say usually, because we have 32 weekends that we are open, and I have 4 volunteers. Right now, I have it staffed for the first 2 weekends and the last 2 weekends, and that is it. So unless we can get some more volunteers down there, we will have to shut the site, because we just don't have the people to staff it. So just putting an appeal out to Abington residents. If you're a senior citizen and you would like to be part of the senior rebate program, you can talk to Amy Barrett over at the COA. If you're interested in just volunteering, please come see us. I think you just need to get queried through the town clerk's office, and we'd be more than happy to have the help. So that's my appeal.
If you're queried through the school, does that count?
You'd have to double check with Leanne. I don't see why not, but I can't speak for her.
I'll throw my hat in the ring, Chris. I've been trying to do it for like 2 years now, and it's never worked out.
We do have 2 new volunteers this year, but again, we have, it's every Saturday between April and December. And even with 4 to 5 people, it's not doable. So please, that's it.
Great. Any questions for the Health Department on that singular announcement?
You should throw out a social media post. Are you going to?
Yeah, we'd be announcing the opening and couple it with that.
What are the hours of it being open?
9 to 2 on Saturdays.
Okay.
Chris, what were the dates for that again? April
April 5th is the first Saturday of April. I think it's the 5th.
to December?
First weekend in December.
Okay.
Yeah, April 5th to December 6th.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, great. Moving on to our discussion and action items for the evening. First and really only item is, other than a few housekeeping things, is discussion and possible vote to approve updated body art regulations, which everybody has a copy of. First thing I want to address, if it's in here, Mr. Schultz, is the
The quiz?
no.
Yeah, section 21.
Is that what it is?
The masters?
Yeah, that's the part.
Department personnel,
Competency
personnel
requirements.
competency requirements.
Yeah, so currently it says, department personnel performing environmental health and sanitary evaluations or compliant investigations of body art establishments must hold a bachelor's degree in environmental health, natural science, or comparable area of study from an accredited university and be a registered environmental health specialist / registered sanitarian. Prior to assuming responsibilities, personnel must meet the same requirements as body art specified in section 14.3389 of this code. If that is the case, then nobody in the health department can do inspections. So I say, in my personal opinion, we should strike this entire section. I don't think that there's any reason why we would have somebody working in the health department as an inspector that couldn't inspect the facilities that we have. I don't think that's just not a hiring practice we would have. I don't think this is a reasonable expectation for us to set on top of that. So personally, I think we should just strike this particular section as a whole, and then that this issue is negated. That's my thought.
You don't want to have anything about any kind of competency for our department, or we'll just say like our acting health agent who's taken the quiz. If you leave it as no one having like the authority or just eliminating it completely, isn't that troublesome? No? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I don't disagree. I don't know that it's realistic that we would hire somebody that doesn't have a competency in doing it. So it just seems like that, I mean, we're forcing somebody to have a degree in order to do it.
I think
We can
get
take
rid of
that
the
part out.
degree
I
part,
mean, we
yeah.
could leave it to say, assuming responsibilities, personnel.
Certified for the
you know.
inspection.
Yes,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, for example, both myself and Eddie are certified by NEHA, who created these
Perfect.
model regs,
So let's have it say that
and the state.
instead of
But
eliminating
should
the
we
entire
then
thing.
specify what the certification is? Does it have to be the NEHA one? Or does it, or, because then we're getting into an area where we have to decide.
Can we just say certification approved by the Board of Health, and that way it's kind of not
could do
particular, but that way it falls under the board's authority as a group?
It's up to you guys.
I think yes.
That works.
Kind
Yeah,
of
we can do that.
vague, but still
Well,
having something in place.
my question too, so section 143389 of this code, what does that say? Because that's what it says in this, they need to meet the same competency
I have to
requirements.
go back.
This is animals, so this can't be right.
Yeah, actually, it's probably 15,
Is it probably 15 now?
yeah, all the,
So I was gonna say, what does that say
all
for,
the sections.
that's prohibition, so no.
That is 14,
So it
license
was
requirements.
License requirements.
That's
3.
page 28, actually, it should be,
28, is that what it is?
yeah, 14, C,
Is it C?
body artist license. And
Right, personnel must meet the same requirements of body artist specified in section, so it would be our competency quiz that,
Yeah. That's why I'm reading it.
Yeah, exactly.
Body artists must demonstrate knowledge of this code and its intent through the completion of an examination given or approved by the department with a passing. Shouldn't they say Board of Health instead of department? Or are we saying that the health department's gonna make that code? That's
Yeah,
up-
under the definitions, the department's the regulatory, so that's the Board of Health.
Gotcha, okay. With a passing grade of 70% or higher, why does it say 80 on the,
oh, I think it
Quiz
should be
itself.
80 and not 70.
I don't know.
That would be a B.
Where are you seeing that?
on the bottom of the general sanitation quiz, it says a passing score is 80%.
Oh,
I think we changed
Page 28 says 70%.
4 to say 80.
Changed to 80,
that's up to you guys.
I know.
I vote 80.
I was thinking 75.
That's a C
Split
plus.
the difference.
Do you
Yeah.
want someone doing a tattoo on you that has a C
Well, it's
plus?
typically what all the certifications are,
Yeah,
75.
yeah, that's kind of why I was saying that.
All right, we'll meet in the middle. I think it should be 80. It says 70, we'll do 75.
Okay. I think how we're gonna handle this, we'll just make a list of some of these changes that we're making now, we can make it as one vote. So, all right, so let's do the 70,
For instance, you go to like a Prometric testing center, it's 75 across the board for certifications. And that's pretty much everything.
I think they changed it for nursing. It used to be C plus, but now they want you to have B minus or better. I could be wrong. I feel like I read that somewhere.
and I mean, as much as I want somebody to be competent enough in our own regulations, as long as they know the proper sanitation procedures that they've probably been instructed on, 75 isn't that bad. I really don't care if they need to know about the licensing portion in here, which I doubt is highly referenced.
Okay.
So I think 75 is reasonable, and we'll probably see that these practitioners are doing it at a higher level. Back to our original thing. All right, so we could set it that the inspector also needs to pass the exam, the quiz, or whatever we want to call it.
Is that okay with you, Chris?
Yeah, I wrote the exam.
Chris got 100, so.
Perfect. Yeah. I feel good. I feel better about that than just completely eliminating that portion.
So why don't we do this then?
So we'll just get rid of must hold bachelors, get rid of the next part.
Yeah, if we
Blah, de, blah, de,
take
blah.
the whole thing and maybe just cut it to prior to assuming responsibilities, personnel must, and then we can take the verbiage out of here. Personnel must. Demonstrate knowledge of this code and its intent through the completion of an examination given or approved by the department, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes,
Do that,
yes.
perfect.
Perfect.
Cut and paste.
Agree.
Okay. Just wording. Is there, so those are the two big things. Chris, is there anything else was brought up there?
I'll just mention it so that you guys are aware of it. Currently, under the model regs that exist on the books, a body art license is classified as either an apprentice or a practitioner. These regulations do away with that distinction. And we would just be, anybody that comes in to apply for a practitioner's license would get a practitioner's license. NEHA addresses that. Their thought process was that the term apprentice is referring to the quality of the tattooing and the experiences, which they felt was not something a regulatory body should be deciding on. Anybody that would be applying for a license still has to meet all the same things. They have to have the training, they have to have the certification, they have to be able to pass the test, and then it would be, we're not doing away with apprenticeships, it would just be up to the body art establishments to determine what an apprenticeship is, who's an apprentice or a practitioner. We would simply be licensing body art practitioners, period.
They would be working under the license of whoever they're apprenticing to, right? That's kind of
No.
how I.
They get their own
Do it?
license.
So anybody putting anything under the skin would be getting a practitioner's license. What we are doing is, by these regulations, we are not saying who's an apprentice and who's not. We're just saying they're a practitioner. Then it would be up to the shops to determine if it's an apprentice or a practitioner. There has been, some people don't agree with that. NEHA's, like they said, their rationale for it was that a regulatory body, we shouldn't be making the distinction. Some people feel differently, but just to be aware that the regulations as written right now, there is no apprenticeship. We would not be issuing permits for apprentices, we would just be issuing practitioners. And then it would be up to the shops to determine otherwise.
To mandate that, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in favor of things that take the decision-making out of our hands for that. I think that that's
Clear
that's
on the
fair.
shop.
Yeah,
That's
and,
the way it
and,
was intended to be anyways, and
Yeah.
that's the way it's been.
and this is probably more stringent at the end of the day in terms of ensuring compliance with what's going on here. I feel a little more comfortable with that as a whole.
And if it became an issue, the board could always come back and amend the
Right.
regulations to add verbiage for that, so.
Okay. The other question that has come before us is the age. And we had, I don't think we'd officially settled on that, but we loosely settled on it before.
Right.
So there is a whole section regarding prohibitions. I would argue that we just add to that if we decide to prohibit.
Section 15.
Yeah, is that, was that section 15?
Yep.
We can continue to have that conversation.
I think the only one, like, most of us had already expressed our views, but Jason, you weren't here for that, so if you wanna express your opinions.
What everybody come up with?
I am in favor of it being 18 plus.
Okay,
Yeah, the room was mostly 18 plus.
okay.
Sue and I were 18 plus, and was not so sure.
Okay, that's the specifics on it.
The last that I left it, and I know that, I apologize for missing a meeting.
No worries.
Sort of, I was on vacation. But, originally I had some feelings that, obviously there's some concerns, right? And I know it firsthand, right? And so, kids are 16 years old, they're gonna get the tattoos. It's gonna be in a basement, it's gonna be in a kitchen, it's gonna be out of state. Surrounding towns have that around. My situation, they didn't have, that option for me to go with, a parent or at 16 and have the option of the shop saying, no, I had it down in the basement, and it did get infected. So, half of me wanted to lean towards, if they were with their mom and dad and they're good with it and, mentally that they're going to a place that's gonna be safe, right? And the shop has the option to say, no, we don't wanna facilitate that, you can go over to X, Y, and Z and they'll take you, On the other side of me, I believe 18, I think it's 18 is fair and I think that, gives them a little bit more time to think about if they wanna keep it on their body for the rest of their lives. And, so I'd probably lean towards that as well.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I was worried with Susan not being here that we would be at a stalemate.
No, I just, you go back and forth and I
I
think about my
was-
son too.
Yeah.
And my son did the, get with his buddies and go to New Hampshire and get a tattoo and then come home and proceed to tell me about it at 16. But at least it wasn't in the basement, it was with a professional, But, there are areas here where you can get it done if you feel that you wanna go and do that, but I
Right,
think in this
I don't
community,
think we need
I
to
think,
be,
I don't think we need to do it.
no, I don't think so either.
Right.
I think let's
Keep the
hold
standard
firm.
of 18.
Yep,
That's my opinion, so my vote would be for 18.
same.
Okay. Well, judging by the loose straw poll without voting opinion of the room, I lose. So we'll make that change. With that being said, the prohibitions read currently that performing a body art procedure is prohibited on a minor without the written consent of that person's parent or legal guardian. With that, we'll have to strike pretty much everything after minor,
What page are you on, 22?
32.
30.
Yeah, performing a body art procedure is prohibited on any minor, period. Rest of the sentences, rest of the paragraph's gone. And then also on subsection 2, under that, if the client is a minor, consent from the parent or legal guardian is also required, should be struck. That's page 32, section 15A. I'm not sure if it is anywhere else in the code specific to minors, other than the definition.
Just on 2,
Say it again?
just on 2 here on the prohibitions.
Yeah, it was all, in the beginning of section A, performing a body art procedure is prohibited in any minor, period, and then strike the rest. And then, section 2, even if the client is a minor, that section there.
Okay.
But I don't know that it's written anywhere else.
I can't recall,
yeah, I
honestly, off
think-
the top of my head. I'd have to go back through.
Yeah, I
which
think
can
what
do.
we should do for that, when we make the motion, let's maybe empower the health department or somebody, some authorized individual to correct any references in the regulation before we submit it. So even if we approve it, we can just approve it with those changes. All right, those are the major things I thought of. Is there anything else as a group before maybe we vote on these changes and then the whole thing?
I don't think so. Those are the big ones I remember from last time.
Okay.
I remember we had talked about the mobile units, but I think we settled that.
Yep, just to back up for one moment. So under specific regulations for specific types of body art, which is section 5, starts on page 14. Body piercing is allowed for under 18 with parental consent, except for genital piercing. So if you just change section A of prohibitions to read, performing a body art procedure is prohibited.
Are they
on
calling
any
that a body
minor."
art procedure?
Everything is body art that goes in the skin, so that would
So we have to
eliminate
specify.
piercing.
Yeah, when I was looking online,
Yeah, so under section 5, the specific regulations for specific types of body art, you could add a section for tattooing, because I think it's, or
what if we
actually,
just-
under section B,
Change the other one.
just add, client must be 18 years of age.
it was a piercing accepted with, oh, actually that, you can't say it twice.
Yeah, I think if
With
you just
tattooing.
under, so
Yeah,
on
you should have it in
section,
C, D, client must be 18 years of age, just add that verbiage in there.
to the tattooing, and that leaves the piercing.
Yeah, all right, that's probably easier.
Keep it straightforward all the way through.
All right.
And then you could leave the section 15 prohibitions alone, or if you wanted to add in verbiage, just saying, excluding branding, scarification, tattooing. Which are the 3 not allowed for 18 or less. Under 18. Or you could just leave it as is.
Was there on
written.
1 anyways? A1, body artists are not allowed to perform genital or nipple piercings on individuals under
Yeah.
18 years of age, so it's there. So 15 is okay.
So do you want to leave section 15 as is, rather than striking? or-
I didn't write down the page number, so
sorry.
I wrote down
32.
page 15.
32,
It's not page
32,
15, it's
no.
section 15.
Yeah, 32.
Yeah, I think it's fine if we do that.
I just want to be clear, because I'll revise these for you.
All right.
Right. No, that's good. Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay. Anything else other than those 3 changes?
So could we just do it one more time so I can put it in the minutes? So page 32, portion A of 15 for prohibitions.
We're not changing.
No, we are changing. We're getting
Right.
rid of the without the written consent of that person's parent or legal guardian.
No, you want to leave that?
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah, because
performing a
body art
art
procedure is
prohibited
also
on
ear
any
piercing.
minor.
It's also ear piercing, though. That's why we're leaving it.
Hold on.
I think you're confusing the two.
Yeah.
Piercing and tattooing are 2 different things.
No, I know, with the exception of genital. Yes.
Okay, if you, so, under section 15 where you are now, under A.
Yeah.
If you remove everything after minor, then anyone under the age of 18 can no longer get pierced, including ear piercing. Because anything going into the skin is considered body art.
Oh, because I thought we had.
Yeah, if you leave that
scratched
section
everything
alone,
after.
We were going to, and then we got rid of
I
that
missed
because
that.
of this.
Okay.
So that's why we went back to
The other
page,
wording,
page 14,
14. Okay.
section 5B. We're gonna add the client must be 18 years of age for tattooing.
Okay.
And then it's consistent throughout.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright.
and I'll double check when I go through
So-
to make sure.
Yeah,
Fine-tooth comb.
so I'll recap the 3 things that we've talked about. It's page 28, which has the body art quiz. It said 70% in the regulation. The body art quiz itself that we have said 80. We split the difference and said 75. Thank you, Katie. On page 34, which is section 21, we are going to adjust the wording to remove everything prior to the word prior to, and say, adjust the sentence to say, prior to assuming the responsibilities, personnel must, and then include the same section from page 28, the section that talks about the examination, to make it work. And then that other section, I may have
Page
already talked
14.
about, the page 14 one. Those are the 3 changes. Anything else for adjustments or changes before maybe we vote on those, and then we can vote on the amended regulation?
I've got nothing, you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
No, okay. Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve those changes to the draft?
I'll make a motion.
Motion from Katie,
I'll second.
second from Jason. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous, and those are changed. The regulations, so consider that amended. I'm gonna make the motion for this because I wanted to word it in a particular way. If you don't like the way it's worded, we can discuss it during that time and amend it. But I wanna make sure we do this in a way that we can still adjust some things between now and it going into effect. So I'm gonna motion that we approve the amended regulation, pending review by by town council, and allowing at least 30 days after it has been reviewed for the Board of Health to make, to accept the changes that are given to us by town council. And also to allow the health department to read through the regulation with the changes that we had just amended to this regulation, and make sure that the words are, make sure that everything is consistent with the changes that we have just made. So, to summarize, town council can look at it first. Once we get it back, we have a month to approve the changes that were provided us to town council to be official, and Chris can make any changes that we just made in here
idea.
so they're consistent. So, is there a second on that?
Second.
Second, okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Katie, was that an aye? Was it a?
Aye,
Okay,
sorry,
it's
I was
okay.
writing.
That's right. All right, then it is unanimous. So we will send these to town council. Once they come back, if he has changes, we will look at them, approve those, and once we approve those, that's when this goes into effect.
So you did it twice, so the first one was to approve the changes, and the second one was to just word it. So when I put it in the meeting minutes, I do it as twice.
Yeah, and if you want me to write down the thing I said, I can
No, I
do
wrote
it
them
too.
down
Cool,
already.
awesome.
Okay.
All right, great. That's it for this. Any other things to bring up on body art? Awesome. Perfect. Moving forward. Vote to approve the minutes of February 24th.
I I will make a motion to approve the minutes from February 24th.
Motion to approve. Jason, you can't second it, so I will second it, because you weren't here.
That's right.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and he's abstaining, so,
So
it's
that'll
gonna
be
be 202.
202.
That'll pass, actually, so that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Those are approved. I get to sign this. Here you go. Okay, great. Health agent report?
Everybody should have a copy. Since our last meeting, we did 3 inspections. Giardino's, Lancaster Street, has a food trailer out back. I guess they're gonna be serving a smaller menu from like 8 to 1 AM.
Oh, what menu? Sorry,
A smaller menu,
Oh,
just
a
like
smaller menu.
hot dogs, hamburgers, you know.
like a
stuff like
lunch,
that.
brunch.
Yep, so we inspected that, that was fine, that was good to go. This morning, I inspected Mary Lou's on Bedford Street, they just remodeled and are reopening, as of today. And, did a pre-opening inspection for All-Inclusive Catering, which is operating out of 10th District Brewery. No priority violations. As far as complaints, we had a complaint of trash piled up in the yard at 62 McKinley Drive. Correction order was issued and that has been resolved. On the 3rd, there was a complaint of an overflowing dumpster at 181 High Street. Correction order was issued, that has been resolved. And this morning, we got a complaint of mattress in the yard at 70 Everett. Correction order has been issued for that. Trainings and conferences, on the 25th and 27th of February, I took the body art facility inspector certification and passed.
Yay.
The 5th,
What'd you get?
at least a 75. On the 5th, I went to MIHA's Title V conference, which was an entire day of septic systems, so that was awesome.
Pretty crappy.
And then on the 11th, DEP and Mass Health Officers Association had a joint seminar. We went over ADUs in Title V and septic systems and a couple other things. It's their quarterly meetings.
Cool.
That's it.
Cool.
Any questions?
I just got one, Giardino's, the food trailer, is it, how are they set up over there? Is it self-sustained? What are they pulling from the restaurant, or what
Yeah,
are they
it's
doing?
self-sustained, so, like, they're using the restaurant as their commissary, but the trailer itself is self-sustained.
Running on a generator, or is it powered up?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yep. He's completely mobile.
Right.
I thought it was kind of a strange idea, but, you know, there you go. So I guess he doesn't want to have the restaurant open after hours. He can just
yeah, so
operate
that'll be
it.
shut down completely?
Yeah.
And it'll be operating right out of the trailer?
All right, public comment? Awesome.
Oh, so you mean 8, wait, so it's after hours? I thought you meant in the morning.
Yeah, no, at night.
So from 8 PM to 1 AM? Oh, I missed
And
the
he's
time
zoned
on
for
that.
it, so,
Yeah. Any facilities there?
PM to 1 AM.
no, it would be, it would be like Christo's, you just come and get your food and go.
Show and go?
Yeah,
So just the employees will be able to go in?
yeah.
Yeah.
Should have been more prepared for this next section. Correspondence, I just recalled I received one. Did you have one? Or was that me? You telling me I had one?
Oh, is that about the Board of Health's?
Yeah,
What was, yeah,
sorry.
yeah, I apologize.
Give it a minute.
Yeah, no, maybe it wasn't. It was, sorry. Thank the Lord for cell phones, because we can look this up quickly. There was one thing that came up regarding, oh, here it is. I have it, Chris. We were forwarded a letter from the town of Granbury Board of Health. They are asking different Board of Healths to support their plea to continue remote meetings. I won't read the entire thing, but they said that, well, so let me preface this by saying, there was a modification allowed to the open meeting law that allows for remote meetings, which I believe is finally coming to an end. It's been kind of a perpetual thing since COVID, just for a while. And they keep saying it's going to expire, and then they extend it for like another year, and then whatever. So here's some of the things in here that are pertinent to a Board of Health supporting this. But remote meetings minimize the transmission of viruses, COVID-19, RSV, and the seasonal flu, and are that are still very active. Last year at this time, controlling the transmission of these airborne diseases was a major driver in extending the ability to meet remotely. While rising and falling and mutating, these diseases will persist for the foreseeable future. Many meeting rooms are not designed with adequate air changes, filtration, or physical space to effectively prevent virus transmission. Many board members and meeting participants are at-risk individuals. Remote meetings allow meeting participation while minimizing disease exposure to both meeting members and participants. It goes on to say things of that nature. They essentially want us to, I think, endorse that with them. So I thought I would bring that up to us folks, we could discuss.
I think yes, why wouldn't we allow people to continue meeting remotely if that was
Is
their
it-
request?
Yeah, am I understanding that correct, Chris? Was that their request?
They are asking the board that you lead and support the effort to allow remote meetings to continue. What that actually entails, I'm not sure, other than writing letters or sending an email to elected officials.
Okay.
I don't know if they're asking your board specifically to lead it or just be part of the lead. It's not really that clear.
Yeah. I mean, we have not utilized remote meetings since 2021, I think. I don't disagree with it, but I don't know that it's pertinent to our facility or board at this time. I mean, I think it's a good option, but I don't.
Yeah, could we just verbally support it?
Yeah, I mean, we can just kind of say that we do if we want, or we can take a vote.
If it's
to-
what's best for them, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
But I think in our situation, I prefer,
I prefer in person as well.
right.
But I think if someone, wanted to be a part of a discussion, they could log in remotely.
correct,
Yeah.
and give them that option to
Yeah.
attend.
Yep.
Yeah.
Electronically.
I say we leave it. It's just something that came in the inbox. I don't think we need to act on it.
I mean, if the board's in favor of supporting it, I can respond to them and just
I
ask
was gonna say, let's
exactly
just
what,
not, let's
you know,
respond, yeah.
what they'd like from you.
Yeah. Just say
Or
we
support them
verbally
having a
support
choice.
them. Yeah, we
Yeah.
support them having a choice, perfect.
The other one that I received at the beginning of March was, from the American Lung Cancer Screening Initiative. There's a bill there, working with John Keenan to pass, specific to, what is this? Sorry, it's been a while since I've read this. Specific to lung cancer screening and to be included, was it information about lung cancer screening to be included within cigarette packages and displayed at the point of sale of tobacco products. What they want us to do is add our names to a letter that they have going. You folks haven't seen the letter, so I don't think it's fair to make a decision on that right now. I want to share this with the board, and it can be something we can vote on at the next meeting, if that's all right with you folks.
Yeah. I would love to
I had
look at the
hoped to
letter.
have had brought this up at the beginning of March, but obviously we didn't have a meeting because it wasn't posted, so that's that. So we'll just make that part of our agenda item. I think it's a good idea to look at it, so. Any other correspondence past those two? No? All right, with that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Motion to adjourn by Jason, second by Katie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is unanimous. We are adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.